Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video. In this video we are going to be taking a first look at Imani, who is an S class character who's going to be coming to the promo well in Road to Survival. First up with the visuals, Imani is giving off heavy Michonne vibes. We have had this happen with the character recently as well, where Storm was basically looking like a Jesus 2.0, and it does look like Scopely are trying to push characters that have some sort of similarity to fan favorite characters while not releasing multiple of those characters in the S class era. I'm not totally against this. I didn't really like that in the 6-star era or in the 5-star era where there was like, 10 different Michonnes, 10 different Negans, 10 different Ricks. It's much nicer if there is that one-off character for that kind of character. So I'm not against this, while I can understand why they'd try and push the same sort of look. Imani here is done up in quite tribally gear. She's got tribal paint on her face and on the sides of her ribs. She also does have double crossbows in her hand, so very lethal to say the least. However, not very well armored in the zombie apocalypse. But I do like the get up. When it comes to the stats, she has 3,932 attack, 3,641 defense, and 4,779 HP. Her trait is alert and her role is considered a tank. Now, to be a tank role and have higher attack than your defense and HP is a little bit strange, but we'll have to see how the rest of her kit complements her stats. Now, if we go across to the Adrenaline Rush, it is called Death Ritual. It's a 66 AP cost rush. Deal 500% damage to up to 5 enemies. Remove focus from up to 2 enemies. And up to 2 teammates recover from all penalties. Obviously, 3 things going on here. A bit of damage, which is okay. She hasn't got the highest attack stat, so it's not going to hit too hard. The remove focus from up to 2 enemies is pretty good. On a defense team, you are going to come up against characters like Ivanova and Erin, who can actually do this on quite a regular basis. Turn 2 actives where they can actually get that up. And also the big bonus here is that while she doesn't seem to benefit much from removing this focus, she's going to have synergy with characters that do. Characters that have Confuse and Taunt will obviously benefit from that focus being removed, and people who don't have focus can no longer attack past shields with basic attacks and rushes. And lastly, we have up to 2 teammates recover from all penalties, and this obviously would remove the likes of Infection and Normalize, as well as all the other usual suspects like Confuse, Taunt, Stun, and Impair. Basically anything that's a negative speech bubble that pops up above someone's head is a penalty. However, Infection and Normalize can't really be removed by any other sources except full cleanses, so that's going to be quite useful in this situation. So this is the second turn, and as you can see, Imani has got her rush. I am going to do my active to give everyone a 2-turn focus on my attack team, and then I'll just defend with everybody, and you'll see once her rush goes off, she does a little bit of damage, and 2 characters should have their focus removed. And I believe it was Erin and Princess, because you saw the sort of animation go over them, and you can see they've only got 35% heal reduction now, and obviously Princess is getting a bit of a buff because she was attacked once and she has got Berserker. The other 3 characters still have their focus, so if I wanted to and there was a shield, for instance, I could attack past the shield and get these characters. Or if they were confused or taunted, they would no longer be confused and taunted, whereas both Princess and Erin would be. And the same situation with the trader. If I was to obviously do Infection on these 2 characters, because she has a cleanse on her rush, you'll see she'll do her rush and there are no longer Infection on those characters and they are cleansed. So not the most spectacular rush in terms of damage, but it does do a little bit of support, and it's mainly going to open the window for other characters to get the control in, and that's going to be quite important. And it will also keep certain characters alive and themselves not controlled. So not terrible, but not amazing at the same time. Where Imani does get amazing, however, is her active skill. It is Impair and AP gain. It has an initial cooldown of turn 1, cooldown of 3, and number of uses 10. Up to 5 enemies get Impair for 1 turn. This character gets 35% AP. Now, 2 parts of this. The 5 enemies get Impair for 1 turn is pretty obvious. On a turn 1 active, whether you use her on attack or defense, means you can impair an entire team, which is really, really powerful. Impair stops AP gain, and it also stops you from being able to rush. So if you do it on an attack team turn 1 and you impair the entire defense team while they haven't got their rushes to stop that, they won't be able to gain AP. When they do their basic attacks, they'll get nothing unless they resist it. And I would say out of the 4 main sort of things to resist, which would be stun, taunt, confuse, and impair, I would pretty much say it goes in that order: stun, taunt, confuse, and impair, in terms of how much people use resists. This is really the first S-Class character to heavily use impair, and this is a heavy impair, so we could see impair resist get boosted a little bit. The second part, where this character gains 35% AP, is not the greatest, just because it's not enough AP to get a rush on a defense team with a huge bonus to AP on attack. Behind a non-AP leader, she's going to be 1 AP off, so she would need an 8% weapon. Fortunately, there is an S-Class rolling around who's a command who's very useful, who comes like that as default, but as it stands, Imani would not get a 3rd turn natural rush otherwise. And on an attack team, it obviously is a lot worse, due to the attack teams having lower AP gain than defense teams. So her active skill doesn't really get more obvious in how it works, but I will just show you. On a defense team, on her first turn, she'll do it, and everyone, as you can see, will get impaired. This means when I attack this next turn, you can see no one is gaining AP. Everyone is just sitting here on whatever AP they were because of the 8% weapon from Rick, which is very low. 16s, 12s, 14s, and then already the defense team has a natural rush on the likes of Priya, who would have been commanded on that last turn. So it is actually extremely effective if you don't manage to control Imani or have a very speedy team on attack. Now on an attack team, it's the same deal. You can just obviously do her active straight away and everybody gets impaired. And if I just defend on everybody, you'll see everyone start doing their attacks, but no one's gained any AP. Everyone's still at 0 AP. So if I did do my attacks before, I would already have AP gain advantage over these characters by this much. I could command myself right now, and that's going to be extremely strong. I think Imani is going to be quite a nice support character on attack teams. And effectively, by slowing down the enemy on that first turn on attack, you are actually increasing your own speed in terms of how quickly you're going to get your rushes versus how quickly the enemy will get. And Imani is a good combat to first turn defense teams, the like of double Arav, double commands, which are massively prevalent at the top level. Imani is going to instantly counter that with the first turn impair. So obviously an extremely powerful active skill, just because it is, like I said, the least used main controlling factor in the game. That means there's going to be the least resist to it, so it's going to be very impactful. But that isn't all Imani brings to the game. She also has a leader skill where all alert and strong teammates get 50% defense and gain 30% bonus HP at the beginning of each wave. This is an extremely powerful leader skill, obviously, and it combines 2 traits that we haven't seen on a defense team yet, which is alert and strong. So you'll be able to have the likes of the trader on a defense team with Imani. You'll also be able to have Rick, who would actually get the bonus as well, where Rick and the trader have not been in a defense team really, where they could get the same bonus and be effective, except behind like the likes of Angel. There are obviously some other characters that can be used on defense teams as well, but there will no doubt be more coming in the future. The only problem with this leader skill that I find is bonus HP is exactly the same as normal HP in terms of the first turn, but it is weaker afterwards. When you have a bonus to normal HP, it makes heal stronger, and it also makes revive stronger, because revives and heal percentages are based off of a character's max HP, which includes leader bonus, weapon bonus, mods. However, it would not include bonus HP because that's on top of their normal HP. So let's say someone's got 10,000 base HP, they now have 13,000 with the leader skill of Imani. If they were to lose 10,000 and then they were to be healed for 10% of their max HP is 10,000, not 13,000. So they'd only get an 1,000 heal versus 1,300. Now it doesn't make that big a difference for 10%, but you get like 30, 40, 50% heals, 25% HP once revived, 40% HP once revived, and it can make a little bit of a difference here. Now personally, while I think it obviously isn't as strong, I don't mind it because it seems a bit more balanced, where it's giving you an initial defense bonus with the extra HP, and seeing as you're getting a big defense boost as well, you're going to be taking reduced damage from any basic attack on that first turn. It is also worth noting that HP percentage bonuses from leader skills and weapons don't normally include mods, I believe. Mods are added at the end of the percentage increases, except here potentially bonus HP could include the mods. So you could get an extra couple of thousand HP from the mods, and then you get a 30% boost of your mod bonus, which would be very unique in this case. It probably works the same way as P. I haven't fully tested it, but it would make sense that the bonus HP percentage bonuses from weapons and leader skills comes after full calculation. So just to give you an idea to see how her leadership skill would actually work, it does actually stack, of course, with Rick's weapon. And this is some of the strongest alert and strong teammates in the game. You've got the likes of Trader, Georgia, Rick, and of course the powerhouse that is Glenn. And behind Imani, they'll obviously be a lot stronger because they will be able to work together and all benefit from the same leader bonus. Now, Imani does have an attached weapon, and it is Imani's defensive dual crossbows. They have 30% defense, 20% HP, and a medium bonus to AP when taking damage. This is kind of strange, as we have had attached weapons in the past that have had something kind of special in that third slot. And as it stands, it is kind of underwhelming, but would require quite a heavy investment on this weapon to get up to standard. You could potentially go for quite basic upgrades and not go for anything special in that third slot. 5-star the weapon and then put whatever weapon in her hands that you want to. But like I said, that's quite a heavy investment of armory tokens to get the weapon into her hands that you would want to use. Imani would obviously be able to benefit from something like a stun gun, which you could have pre-made, but it would have to be a 5-star weapon for her to be able to use it. So overall, I think Imani is pretty good, mainly down to her active skill. The only character that can actually stop that from happening potentially is going to be Angel, because she has got a first turn daze on her leader skill. You also potentially have Mercer, who has a stun on his leader skill, but everyone else, unless they have resist, they are getting impaired. And as a defense team leader, could potentially be very dangerous just based on the traits that she's going to be teaming up together. I've got no doubt we're going to see some more characters come out in the future that are alert and strong. And because of the amount of leaders now that we are getting, we are starting to get the potential of mix-match teams, which actually could be pretty good. Any alert characters that come out that can work with Imani can of course work with the likes of Jackie. Imani herself could be used on a Jackie defense team and be very potent. If you've got Imani on the turn 1 doing her active skill, and then turn 2 you've got someone like Rosita doing hers, that's a lot of control. But do tell me what you think of Imani. What do you think of her visuals, her rush, her active? What about that leader skill? Give me your thoughts in the comments. That is the end of my video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.